Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Cooking with Gabby. Today I'm going to be making some beef stroganoff and I'm going to boil spaghetti noodles and we're going to be using that as the noodles. You can use any kind of noodles though. If you wanted to use a short pasta or a elbow noodle, bow ties, egg noodles, any kind of noodle will work. But I'm going to use spaghetti because that's what I have. So last night my husband cooked us some ribeye steaks. So that's what I'm going to be using for the base. And I also have some top round roast. My husband made some jerky this weekend. And these are the ends that were too big to make into jerky. So I'm just going to cut them up small and fry them up. And you're going to hear a lot of noise in the background because my grandbabies are home now. Louis, he's 2, and then Ender is 1. Papa has Ender right now on his lap, going down for a little sleepy sleep. So, but if you hear that in the background, that's what it is. And I got a haircut today, a little short, but it'll be all right. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to cut up the meat, and I'll get that in the pan, get it frying, and I'm also going to add a half of yellow onion to that, and I'm going to get that fried. And then we'll go to the next step. I'm also going to show you how I'm going to cut this, and I'm going to slice it into thin strips. Just like this. And that's how you do that. And I'm going to use this pan. I know it looks dirty. It's not. I just used it to make a steak and egg burrito for my husband for around lunchtime. So that's what I'm going to use. Okay, so what I did was I went ahead and chopped up my onion. And I cut up that little bit of round steak that I had, or top round, or whatever it was called. I got that frying in the pan. To get the onions, I'm going to get them translucent. And then once this meat is cooked up, because the other steak is already cooked, I'm just going to slice that, add it to the pan. And then I got about 2 tablespoons of flour that I'm going to add to it. Stir that in. And I also am going to put about 2 to 3 tablespoons of this Better Than Bouillon. Some of the best bouillon flavor you're going to get is from this type. I really like this one. So I'm going to use that. And then once I get all that done, then I am going to add, this is an 8-ounce package of not cottage cheese. What is this? Cream cheese. I'm going to cut it in half. So I'll use 4 ounces of cream cheese, and then I'm going to use about a half a cup of sour cream, and I have half and half in milk I'll add to it. And then once I get all that in there, I'll add a little bit of water to thin it out the rest of the way, the thickness that I need it for the gravy. And then what I'm going to do is add a little pepper, and I'm not going to add any salt though, because we're already putting bouillon in it, and that's already salty. So let me get that going, and then I'll show you what the rest of that looks like. Okay, so I changed the pan I had. I needed a big one. I didn't realize I had so much meat, so I needed a bigger pan. So I have about 3 tablespoons of butter in here, and I have cooked the onions. They're translucent now, and the steak is cooked through. So now I'm going to add my flour to the meat. Just about 2 tablespoons is all you need. Just about that much. And I'm going to add got some garlic powder. That much should be good. Probably about a half teaspoon. Now you can see how it's kind of gumming up there. That's what you want. And we're gonna let this cook for just a few minutes, and I'm gonna grab the pepper. crank some pepper into it. And now I'm going to add my bouillon, which I added water to I only had a few tablespoons left in here. I'll add that in. Then I'm going to add the milk in the half and half. 2 cups of that. And a cup of milk. And we're just going to stir this. Let it all heat up. And we're going to add in our sour cream, which I got about, I would say that's about a cup. We're going to add that in. And then our half a package of cream cheese. We're going to add this in. And then we're going to let it all cook together. And I don't know if I said it or not, but I usually like pre-prep my husband's meals for the week. And this is one of the meals that he wanted was stroganoff. So because we had the steaks and everything last night, it just worked out that, and I know that's a big block of cream cheese in there, but it will melt down with the heat. And this will all get real nice and thick. And then I'll let it cool, and I'll add it to the I'll add it to his Tupperware bowls, and then I'm gonna use the same pot, and I'm gonna make his pasta, and I'll put that in a little bit of I'll put that in separate bowls. That way it doesn't all get stuck together and soak up all the juice. And then when he's ready to eat it, he's just pull it out of the freezer, pull this part out of the freezer, and pull his noodles out, and heat it all up, and then he's got a whole meal. And then if there's any left, he'll take it for lunch, or, well, he doesn't really take lunch anymore. He comes home, he goes to the trailers right next to the job site, so he just goes back to the trailer and warms up everything there. All right, as soon as this gets where it needs to be, I'll bring you back and I'll show you what that looks like. All right, so it's been about 3 minutes. And I tasted it. It did need a little more pepper, so I added a little more cracked pepper to it. And then I'm thinking I have some mushrooms in the fridge, and I think I'm going to cut up a couple mushrooms and throw it in here too. So I'm going to do that real quick, and then let this go ahead and finish cooking. And you can see all of that cream cheese is all dissolved now. There's some little bits of it here and there, but it'll all melt with the heat. It'll still melt. So. Okay, so Sam's had these beautiful portobello mushrooms, the small ones, on sale. And this is what I'm going to do with them. I'm going to pop out the center. And then I peel the skin off. People think I'm weird for doing this, but I don't know. It just makes me feel better about eating the mushroom. You can keep the skin on. If you do keep the skin on them, you're going to want to wipe them down with paper towel. Or don't put them in water because they will absorb that. But if you... need to wipe them down if they're kind of dirty, you can just wipe them off with a wet paper towel. But this is how I do it. I just literally just grab it by the top. I pop the center out, and then I just peel it all the way around. And it just peels real easily. And then I'll just cut it in slices, and I'll show you what I do with it. And then what I'll do is I'll just cut it into slices like this. And drop it right in the soup. Well, it's not soup. It's beef stroganoff, actually. It's steak and gravy. Anybody, any of you guys got steak and gravy people out there that love steak and gravy, well, this will be a good dish for you. Because that's how my husband is. My husband's a steak and potatoes kind of guy. And then once I'm done with that, I'll show you what the end product looks like. Okay, so this is the end product. It's got the mushrooms, onions, the steak. I have half and half milk, sour cream, cream cheese, better than bouillon, garlic powder, pepper, about 3 tablespoons of butter to cook everything together, and then I added the 2 to 3 tablespoons of flour, depending on how thick you want your gravy. My husband likes, a good gravy, so I got it it's a little thick in here, how he likes it. And then I'm going to pan this up, and then I'm going to boil the noodles in this same pan. And then I'm going to also make him some egg salad, so I'm going to boil the eggs with the pasta that I'm making for him, and then I got killing 2 birds with 1 stone. It takes about 8 minutes to make hard-boiled eggs. It takes about 8 minutes to boil pasta, so works good together. All right, so that's the end of that. So when I put it all together, I will show you the pasta in the containers, and then you can see exactly how I will set it up for him. So I put them in these little bento boxes. So this has the stroganoff inside of it, and then I'll do the same thing with the pasta, which I'm cooking right now in the pot. I'm using this one right here. Pasta barilla. Thick spaghetti too. Gotta have thick spaghetti. I don't like the thin stuff. But yep, so I'll cook that. I got the eggs in there already because that'll come up to boil. So the eggs will kind of heat up as it goes. And then I'll make him some egg salad with some Miracle Whip, some sweet relish, some celery seed, a few other things I'll put into it. Mix that up and put that in another bento box, and then we'll just make it as he wants to eat it. My daughter's over there looking at me. She's got me on the spot. So I think that's going to be it for this episode. So again, with the stroganoff, I just used leftover ribeye steaks that we had last night. I cut them up. I added onion and butter, fried that for a little bit. I fried that raw top round in that. But if you didn't have that, if you just had the pre-cooked steak, then you just add that to it. Once the mushroom or the onions are translucent, and that's when you could also add the mushrooms at that time too, because they would fry up in that, but I didn't think about it till later, so I just added them in. They'll be fine that way too. And then you put your flour on there, get it all cooked up, and then you add your beef bouillon, or any kind of bouillon, vegetable bouillon if you want, whatever you have. Some garlic powder, some sour cream, some cream cheese, and then I used half and half, but you could use all milk, and you could change the recipe any way you want to. That's the one thing I love about cooking, is that you may like one thing, I may not like it. So it's interchangeable. Do whatever you want. Whatever works with your household and your family, do that. This is what works for mine, so that's what I do. But anyways, I'm glad that you were able to join me. If you liked the video, give me a thumbs up, and leave me a comment, whatever. And I appreciate that. And thanks for joining me, and I will see you on the next one.